Hi Stampers, this is Karen Phillip. I'm a Stampin Up Demonstrator and I'm pleased to show you this technique called rubber band stamping with no spritz. Typically when we do a rubber band technique you use water to get this design to kind of spread out and be more subtle. But today I'm not doing that. We're just going to do direct rubber bands onto the piece of cardstock. So let's get started. We will first need a piece of white cardstock that is 2 by 5, and I will, let's see, where's my rubber mat here? I will put it on here. I don't normally recommend stamping on this rubber silicone mat because it will be like an ink pad and it will stay inky, but for demonstration purposes I'll do that. So I have wrapped just 2 rubber bands around. Let's see if I can get this without sticking. So the first one is a wider rubber band, and then I took a narrower one going in the opposite direction and I just gave it a twist, flatten this out a little bit, and that's how I got this on my block. This is the D block. You can use any size block, but this one worked well for this. So in doing some experimenting, I found that if I did the wider one in the lighter color and the skinny one in the darker color, it worked better. Today I'm using cinnamon cider and evening evergreen, and I'm doing this with regular markers, not blends. The alcohol markers will just stay, it will just color the rubber bands. It won't be an ink pad, if you will. It won't work that way. So I'm just using the side of my brush of my marker, and I'm just putting the color onto the wide rubber band, and then I'm doing it, you want to work a little quickly so that it doesn't dry. So then this one I'm just putting the evening evergreen on there, and then you just put it in one direction. You have to kind of rock it a little bit because it's not straight because of the rubber bands, and you have that. Now if I were to second stamp it, it probably wouldn't work, and I'll show you on this little piece here, because all of the ink is already transferred onto this paper, so you can't like double stamp to get a lighter image. So each time that you do this, you have to ink it up. So we'll do that again. We do this 3 times. Little froggy throat today. There we go. And now you'll want to go a different direction this time. And again, kind of rock it on there. And then we'll do it a 3rd time. Okay, and then we'll go in another direction, just put it on there, and then you have this sort of ugly design, but when you put it all together it's really cool. So, and this you can wash with a baby wipe, just wipe it off, or just throw the rubber bands away when you're finished, which is what I'm going to do. The next step is taking it off my silicone pad. I don't know if you can see, but there is a little bit of ink on my pad. So I'm turning it over so I make sure I don't spread that ink where I don't want it. We will then take this, I'm using the stamp set Gorgeous Leaves. It is a bundle, but we're not cutting anything out, we're just using the stamp. And this little wood grain pattern really kind of ties it, and you could use that or any of these other grunge pieces. I'm using Sahara Sand with this, just a light color, and it's amazing how much that just finishes it off. Oops, I should do this on the other side. And you just, it just kind of tones it down a little bit. The next step is taking our leaf, this leaf right here, it's this one, and I love this set because it has the little grunge around the leaves itself. I'm using Evening Evergreen. I'm stamping it 3 times in different directions. Trying to ink it up pretty well so you have a nice dark image. Like so. There we go. And basically that's the whole technique. Now we'll just put the card together. I'm going to remove this because I have ink on both sides now. I have the 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock, and it's folded in the middle at 4 or scored at 4 1/4. Now this is called time. It's a time-worn type. It's on page 55 in the mini catalog, and it's a really neat embossing folder. And I was all of my club members, we were saying there's a word harvest. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it. Let's see. No. Well, there's a word harvest on the right side here, and that way you know that you're putting it on the correct, it's upside down, and or it's not upside down or backwards. So that's, if you see the word harvest, that's not too many words are visible, but that one is. So just a way to know if you're putting it on the correct way. We'll put this on our card. Oops. And because this was embossed, it picked the paper right up. So you have to be careful when you use your Seal Plus. It just pulls everything up. It broke the embossing broke the fibers. Okay. Next is a piece of about 1.5 by 4, just a piece of cinnamon cider. And I'm almost out of this, so yep, there it goes. Okay, so then this just goes up to the 4-inch, or the top of the card and the bottom of the card, and just put a little border on the side. And now this I'm putting on with a little bit of it showing. You don't always need to have your layer be a full layer. You can just have pieces showing behind it. Then I just use I have a sentiment from Artistically Inked stamp set. I don't have it here. And I use the oval, double oval punch with cinnamon cider, and we'll just put this on the card. And that's pretty much it then. Okay. Of course, you can never do it when you're with the camera. And that's all it is. So it's really a pretty card and a fun technique. You could do it with any colors. You could do lighter colors perhaps with the background, whatever you'd like. And it just is a nice striking background feature panel. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.